You know that feeling when someone asks you if you're on track for retirement and you just kind of nod and say, "Yeah, I think so," but deep down you have absolutely no idea? You're contributing to your 401k, you're not spending recklessly. You tell yourself you're being responsible. But responsible and actually on track are two completely different things. Here's what nobody tells you. There are exactly three numbers that determine whether you will retire comfortably or whether you will be working into your 70s wondering where the time went. Most people don't know any of them. And the scary part? Not knowing these numbers doesn't protect you from the consequences of getting them wrong. My name is David, and you're watching Dollar Horizon. And I spend way too much time thinking about money, retirement math, and why so many people reach their 60s completely blindsided by their own financial situation. If you want to know exactly where you stand and what to actually do about it, hit subscribe and drop a like if this video ends up giving you the clarity you've been missing. Meet James, 44 years old, project manager, makes $78,000 a year. James has been contributing to his 401k since he was 29. He owns a home, he's never had a serious financial crisis. By his own estimation, he's doing fine. But last year, James did something most people never do. He actually sat down and ran the numbers. Not the vague, "I think I'm okay" numbers, the real ones. What he found genuinely shocked him. At his current savings rate, contributing 6% of a salary, James would reach retirement age with approximately $340,000. Sounds like a lot, until you realize that $340,000 at a safe withdrawal rate of 4% generates just $13,600 a year. $13,600 a year plus Social Security, which for someone at his income level averages around $18,000 annually. That's $31,600 a year in retirement for a man currently living on $78,000. James isn't behind because he was irresponsible. James is behind because nobody ever showed him the three numbers that actually determined retirement outcomes. He was doing what felt right without ever checking if it was actually enough. The first number, and the most important one most people never calculate, is your savings rate. Not how much you save, the percentage of your income you save. This single number predicts your retirement timeline more accurately than any other factor. More than your investment returns, more than your income level, more than which funds you pick. Here's why. If you save 5% of your income, which is roughly the American average, you are saving $1 for every 19 you spend. At that rate, you need to work approximately 45 years to fund a retirement. If you save 15%, you need roughly 28 years. If you save 25%, that drops to about 17 years. If you save 50%, you can retire in approximately 17 years from the day you start, at any income level. Read that again. At any income level. The math doesn't care what you earn, it cares what percentage you keep. James was saving 6%. He thought he was being responsible, and compared to the average American, it is. But 6% means he needed 43 years of working to fund his retirement. He started at 29. That puts him at 72. He thought he was being responsible. He was actually planning to work until 72 without realizing it. The target most financial planners agree on is 15% minimum, including your employer match. Not 15% on top of the match, 15% total combined. If you are below that number right now, you are accumulating a retirement gap every single month. The second number is your retirement number, the specific dollar amount you need saved to stop working. Most people have never calculated this. They have a vague sense that more is better, but no actual target. And here's the problem with having no target. You can't know if you're on track for a destination you've never identified. Here is the simplest and most accurate way to calculate it. Take your current annual expenses, multiply by 25. That's it. That's your retirement number. Why 25? Because at a 4% annual withdrawal rate, the historically safe rate that research shows survives virtually all market conditions, 25 times your expenses gives you a portfolio that lasts indefinitely. James spends about $5,200 a month. That's $62,400 a year. $62,400 multiplied by 25 equals $1,560,000. That is James' retirement number. Not $340,000, not whatever I have saved, $1,560,000. He has $187,000 saved at 44. The gap between where he is and where he needs to be is $1,373,000. That number is not meant to cause panic. It is meant to cause clarity, because once James knew his real retirement number, he could make real decisions, not guesses, not hopeful assumptions, real decisions based on real math. The third number is the one nobody talks about, and it might be the most powerful of all. It's your gap rate, the difference between your current savings rate and the rate you actually need to hit your retirement number on your timeline. For James, he wants to retire at 65. He has 21 years. He has $187,000 saved. He needs $1,560,000. At his current 6% savings rate, he ends up with $340,000. The gap is $1,220,000. To actually hit $1,560,000 by 65, James needs to save approximately 24% of his income. That's his gap rate, the distance between 6% and 24%. Now here's what makes this number so powerful. James doesn't have to close that gap all at once. He just needs to start closing it. Every 1% increase in savings rate moves his retirement date forward by approximately 18 months. That means if James increases his savings rate by just 3% this year, he pulls his retirement date forward by 4.5 years. Not by saving a fortune, not by getting a massive raise, just by knowing the number and moving toward it deliberately. Here's the exact 3-step process that works starting today. Step 1. Calculate your savings rate. Add up everything you save and invest each month: 401k contributions, IRA, any savings account additions. Divide by your gross monthly income, multiply by 100, that's your savings rate. Write it down. Step 2. Calculate your retirement number. Take your current monthly expenses, multiply by 12 to get annual expenses. Then multiply that by 25. That's the number your portfolio needs to reach for you to retire safely. Write it down. Step 3. Calculate your gap rate. Use a retirement calculator. Fidelity and Vanguard both have free ones, and enter your current savings, your monthly contribution, and your target retirement number. The calculator will tell you exactly what savings rate hits your target. The difference between that number and your current rate is your gap. Then, and this is the critical part, increase your savings rate by 1% every 6 months until the gap closes. Set it up automatically so it happens without a decision required each time. James did exactly this. He bumped his rate from 6% to 10% in year 1, then to 13% after his next raise. He's currently at 16%, still below the 24% he ultimately needs, but his projected retirement age has moved from 72 to 67. 5 years returned just by knowing the numbers. James isn't going to work until 72. He's not going to retire at 55, but he's going to retire at 67. With dignity, with options, and without the panic of someone who never checked the math until it was too late. The difference between James at the start of this story and James today is income. It isn't luck. It's 3 numbers: his savings rate, his retirement number, his gap rate. Here's what I'd leave you with. Most people spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than they spend planning the 20 years after they stop working. And the result of that imbalance shows up quietly, in the form of people who meant to retire at 65 and they're still working at 71 wondering how it happened. It happened because they never ran the numbers. You just did. Now go write them down.